Hi guys, welcome back to the Astrology. Today we are recording the video for the May monthly reading and this is being short for Gemini sign. Yes, you can watch this video both from a Gemini rising as well as from a Gemini moon sign perspective. Now, before I jump into the details of this reading, I would want to draw your attention to the fact that we have recently concluded the transit of Jupiter, which has already been released last week. So if you've not had a chance, guys, please go ahead and check that video because it is going to give you a lot of clarity in terms of that transit as well. And in the course of this video, we are going to talk about May monthly reading, but Rahu and Ketu, I want to highlight, I will be doing a detailed video which will be released next week and you are going to see more insights, especially with respect to those two planets. Saturn's transit into the Pisces has also been short and it is available on the channel. So if you've not had a chance to check that out, it is extremely important that you look into that video as well to get a more comprehensive details about the major transits of Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu and Ketu throughout the course, all of which are happening in 2025. So pretty happening season for that matter. Without further ado, guys, let's check out the important dates that are going to be coming into play here. Now, guys, before we proceed further, it is important for you to draw your attention towards some of the key dates that are going to be impacting us during this month. And the transit of the planets on these dates is what will set the tone for you to understand as to how the transit for the month of May is going to be impacting you. So, first and foremost, Sun is in Aries until May 13th, and then it gets into the sign of Taurus from May 14th onwards. You have Mercury in the sign of Pisces and it will get in Aries from May 6th. That is how I have depicted that in your chart as well. Venus continues to be in its sign of exaltation in Pisces and it will get in Aries from May 31st. So for the entirety of this month, Venus will continue in its sign of exaltation and deliver the impact that you've been seeking, while Mars is in the sign of Cancer since April 2nd onwards. It's going to be there in its sign of debilitation throughout the course of this month, and it is going to change its position in June itself. Then you have Jupiter, which is in Taurus in Mrikshira Nakshatra itself. It has been stationed there from April 10th, and it will get into the sign of Gemini from May 14th onwards. Now, guys, I've done a very detailed video of Jupiter transit. If you've not had a chance, please go ahead and check that out, and you will get a lot of clarity from that particular video as well. Saturn has got into the sign of Pisces in Uttakshatra, which is ruled by himself, Saturn himself, on April 27th. So that's an important movement that has come into play. Rahu is in Pisces in Purvabhadrapada Nakshatra, which is again ruled by Jupiter, and it is going to be making its true transit into the sign of Aquarius from May 29th onwards. So for the sake of this particular reading, we are going to see majorly it from Pisces itself. And then last but not the least, Ketu is in Virgo in Uttara of Sun. It will continue in the same nakshatra and get into the sign of Leo with its true transit happening on May 29th. So these are the important dates. Now let's deep dive into the reading itself. Now guys, as you can see on the screen here, for you guys, your Lagna Lord Mercury is currently in debilitation in the sign of Pisces in the 10th house itself. But on 6th of May, it will be moving into your 11th house in the sign of Aries. And that is a very positive movement. See, even though Mercury has been in debilitation, I have been constantly calling out that Mercury has been getting directional strength in the 10th house, and that's a positive play for Mercury. Even though it debilitates, it still gives you the ability to come out of that situation, help you deliver well from your karma, from your workplace, from your efforts perspective. And then it was getting a niche bang as well with the presence of an exalted Venus. So Mercury's transit, your Lagna Lord, which is also happens to be the Lord of your 4th house, transit into the 11th, is phenomenal because this now gives the opportunity for you guys to accomplish, to fulfill, to chase and win whatever goals, targets, objectives you've been keeping in mind. This is going to enhance your gains over the next few weeks. See, you have to understand when Lagna Lord is coming into the 11th house, it is going to make you hyper focused towards your desires, towards your materialistic goals, towards your ambitions. And if it is in connection with your 10th house itself, I think most of those objectives could be in connection to your karma, could be in connection with your career perspective, so to speak. But this doesn't mean that people who are not working, people who are not in any kind of job, business, etc., they don't have a play. Guys, even if you are a student watching this video, you will realize that your goal to achieve your educational targets, your objective to strive for, say, getting grants of some sort, getting some sort of a scholarship at your college level, at your school level, you are going to succeed in those areas as well. If you've been trying to work on a certain elective and crack the success in those areas, that is going to be positive. At the end of the day, it is your Lagna Lord, your superhero, which is empowering you to deliver that positive outcome. So you should be leaving no stone unturned here in terms of utilizing that opportunity coming your way. Of course, in the first half, the first and the second week, you are going to be forming a Buddha-Dati yoga as well in your 11th house. So that's another positive factor with the sun being in exaltation there. And we'll touch upon that in a bit. But Mercury's movement here as the Lagna Lord from your 10th to 11th gives us a confirmation of continuation of positive impact of Mercury over the next few weeks. Additionally, it is the Lord of your 4th house as well. There is a high chance that you might have certain objective with respect to a bigger house, bigger property, some sort of knowledge that you would want to gain. You might want to equip yourself with more information, learn new things, acquire expertise in newer areas, even expand on your asset, movable, immovable properties. Some sort of a chain in terms of buying a new property, buying a new land, or maybe something that you've been eyeing in terms of finding gains in those areas, especially people if you are associated with real estate, if you are associated with any kind of knowledge-based work, if you are a student yourself, gaining knowledge from that perspective as well. All of those areas are giving a very solid indication of you accomplishing your targets. I think from a family perspective as well, from your mental peace perspective as well, you are going to find a lot more comprehensive presence in your mind. Like you are going to feel fulfilled. You are going to feel comfortable, so to speak, emotionally, mentally. And that is another positive indicator with this movement of Mercury into the sign of Aries. Yes, there could be, because it is getting into the sign of Aries, there could be some rush, some hastiness that might also propel. You could be driven by achieving those targets and objectives as soon as possible. So that change is possible. But still, I would want you to keep some level of caution of not rushing with your decision making. I think having that control, that chance in how you run things comfortably, slowly, yet with a comprehensiveness in your decision making is going to be extremely important. Now, as we move ahead, we see that you have with this Mercury conjunction of Sun as well, which is sitting in exaltation. Another beautiful thing that is happening. Sun is the Lord of your 3rd house. So your efforts, your hard work, your siblings, your cousins, your interest in terms of your hobbies, etc., is going to be resulting into greater shine. It is going to be resulting into wish fulfillment. So you are going to be responsible of accomplishing your targets, accomplishing your goals based on your sheer hard work, sheer tenacity that you're going to be bringing in Geminis. And that is a beautiful thing that's happening. Now, of course, you have to understand that Sun is going to be here for the first half of the month. And in the second half, it is going to be transiting into your 12th house, which means that there is going to be certain degree of expenses, a rise in expenses going to come into play. But I do not anticipate a rise specifically. See, Jupiter had already been there. And when Sun enters into your 12th house, Jupiter's will be moving into your ascendant, into your Lagna or into your Rashi if you're watching it from a Gemini moon sign perspective. Which means that whatever has been in play in terms of expenses will continue. It's just that there will be some level of sheer royalty, some kind of brand awareness that might come into whatever expenses you are making. So if you want to purchase or buy a new asset, now you would be leaning towards making sure that the asset is of higher quality, higher end product. You would not want to purchase any phone but an iPhone for that matter, or you would want to upgrade to whatever capacity you can afford. So that sense of gravitas is going to increase in you. It also ensures, especially in the first half of the month, whilst this Sun is exalted, that there will be a definitive increase in you leveraging something out of your short distance travels. Your journeys are going to be rewarding for you in the first half. So Please make sure if you want to travel somewhere and accomplish some gains out of it, you are scheduling that earlier. That in the second half of the month might not be as rewarding, and that is where some level of caution is what I would want to mention. It is also important to note that Sun from here is going to be giving an aspect to your sixth house when he moves into the 12th and the second half of the month, which means that it will give the power, it will give you the strength to overcome the problems, overcome the challenges that are coming your way, especially with respect to your job, with respect to your work. Your day-to-day schedule is going to find a lot more balance. You are going to put in a lot more efforts. Remember earlier, Sun was giving a debilitated aspect to the fifth house, and I had given you a warning with respect to your interactions with your kids, with your investment strategies as well. But here, I think the aspect into the sign of Scorpio is going to be extremely rewarding. We'll talk about the Lord of that house, Mars, which is debilitated in a bit. But Sun's aspect here is also going to ensure that any kind of ailments, health issues, etc., that could come your way, you will be able to successfully overcome that as well. Sun means schedule, Sun means regimen. And that is why you guys understand that I like when Sun comes to the sixth house, but when Sun comes to the 12th house, it also means draining of some sort of effort. So a lot of effort might go because Sun is the lord of your third house. So you might have to drain in your a lot of efforts in things which are least expected for you, or you might be not anticipating those kind of problems, those kind of challenges coming your way. Be prepared to tackle those kind of problems as well, and that is going to be extremely crucial. Now, as we move ahead, we realize that Jupiter is coming into your ascendant. He is currently placed in your 12th house itself. We've done a detailed video, guys, in terms of helping you establish that what this Jupiter's transit is going to mean for Gemini. If you've not had a chance, please check out. But for this month as well, I would want to call out that the initial part of the month is going to be where there will be some degree of spirituality, some level of investment in terms of your own efforts, learning towards new things. But Jupiter, which happens to be the Kendra Lord, happens to be the Lord of your 7th house and your 10th house, is now coming to the ascendant, means you are going to be so much driven, so much bound with your work that you will have no time to sit and stare. That sort of a situation will arise, and it is not a bad thing. See, when Jupiter comes into the ascendant, it's such a rewarding situation to be in, because being a natural benefic, he gives an aspect to your 5th house, 7th house, and your 9th house. So, everything related to your kids, family, romance, love life sees an uptick. It gives a positive sign from your marital relationship, bliss perspective as well. And then your overall spiritual upliftment, your association with your customer, with your boss, with your fatherly figures, with your superiors. All of those areas are going to see a positive tick. Geminis, I've given a lot of detailed insights into the Jupiter transit video. I see a very positive movement panning out for you. So please remember this bit. I also want to draw your attention that Jupiter, being the lord of your 7th, coming into your ascendant, business relationships, your marital bliss, your spouse in itself and their growth, or your connection with your spouse, closeness in your relationship, in your marriage, or the possibility of many of you who are looking forward to get married during this period is going to substantially increase. So this transit of Jupiter promises a lot of positive uptake for you guys. Now, folks, as we move ahead, you will realize that Mars, which happens to be the lord of your 11th house, has been sitting in debilitation, but in the second house. That's such a strong Dhan yoga. It's a very positive yoga, and he's also happening to be the lord of your 6th house. We were talking about the aspect of Sun into your 6th house itself a couple of minutes back. See, Mars' position here is very empowering in terms of you guys, Geminis, for you to enhance on your gains and savings. Even though he is in debilitation, I think it gives you a lot of positive opportunities to continue to enhance. It is going to give you some tendencies of being frugal, which is a positive thing. That frugality in you is going to still consistently result into a positive outlook, positive growth in your savings. It is going to bring in some interest for you guys to continue to enjoy some hot, spicy food. I think in your involvement within the kitchen and trying to, because Mars is kitchen, right? It is knife, it is your activities of chopping, cutting, and doing those kind of actions. And his presence here is going to continue to spice up that behavior, that mindset in you, in which you kind of do a lot for your family, for yourself, for your self growth, for your fitness as well. And Mars being the lord of 6th house coming into second, see, fitness is going to be important. You would want to try to eat healthy, albeit you will consistently fail at that. But this doesn't mean that you will be doing something obnoxious in terms of your dietary habits, in terms of your food. I see positivity from that perspective. The fact that he is debilitated is actually good for you guys because that reduces negative temperament in terms of arguments, bad situations within the family. You could be emotional to a certain extent, but I think you will still sail through positively there. Now, Mars is giving an aspect, fourth aspect into your fifth house, which is important. So please be kind with your kids if you are single and in a romantic relationship or looking forward to get into the romantic relationship. Things are going to get smoother for you with the movement of Jupiter coming into play because some level of aggression drive is definitely going to be there, and some level of aggression, guys, is always good in a relationship. I wouldn't want to be thinking in terms of extremes that you are going to roll up your sleeves and take matters in your hands. It's more having that possessive behavior. And some possessive behavior is actually attractive in relationships. So that is a positive sign there. But I yet want you to be careful in terms of how you deal with your children. I think bringing in some degree of creativity, some degree of fun, laughter, comic timing in that aspect is also important with your children, with your loved ones, in your romance. That is extremely needed. Now, Mars' position here also brings an intent of aggressive hard work towards your studies, education. I like that, and I think it is good from an education perspective. He's giving an exalted aspect to your eighth. You guys know I don't deep dive much into the inheritance and those kind of matters, but I think the exalted aspect here is going to enhance your intent to learn new stuff. You Geminis, many of you have actually pinged me and told me this thing in comments as well that Dave, I've been taking up new subjects. I've been learning stuff. There are people who are working in HR and they've been pivoting themselves to learn something around product management, for example. People are taking up new courses around AI and stuff. Thank you guys for confirming. That's exactly what I mean to say. Mars exalted aspect into the eighth gives you that intent to learn new things, difficult things, go back into hiding, research yourself, preparation for PhD programs, getting into occult, even some sort of unexpected gains coming your way through speculative, non-speculative activities. Please do not take major risks in those areas, but because he's the Lord of 11, sitting in second, giving an aspect to fifth and eighth both Geminis, it gives you a phenomenal chance there as well. But be watchful with respect to your relationships with your elderly, with your bosses, with your superiors at work, because he is also giving an aspect, eighth aspect into the ninth. Now, the ninth lord of your chart, which is Saturn, he's sitting in the 10th house, again directionally, and it's a beautiful position. It is sitting in conjunction with Venus and Rahu. But I would want you to be careful in terms of not getting in argumentative situations. No matter what, if you're a homemaker, you're a student, don't get into arguments with your professor, with your mentor, with your teacher, with your boss, with your father, for that matter. Understand where you need to course correct yourself, take a step back. Some level of frustration is always going to be there, but you are still going to do better, Gemini. Okay. Now, as we talk about Saturn here, Saturn and Rahu are in the same house, but they are in different rooms. Because Saturn is in his own nakshatra, while Rahu is moving, inching towards his true transit, which is going to be happening in the sign of Aquarius on 29th of May. So he is inching towards that direction. And why there is this close conjunction yet in the same house, but they're still moving away, which is a positive thing. Now, Saturn, of course, is going to come back in the retrograde motion. We will talk about that in July, but he being the lord of your 8th house and 9th house coming into 10th definitely showcases that there is going to be some favor of the fortune coming in with respect to your karma. But there could be a lot of challenges, difficulties, etc. as well that could come at your workplace. So you'll have to keep fighting and battling that. And I have been alluding to that earlier as well. Venus happens to be the lord of your 5th house and your 12th house. So if you are working in a foreign place, if you are working in a job that requires you to collaborate with foreigners, etc., or if you are looking forward to do some sort of investments, or your work requires working in investment areas, creative pursuits, etc., you are going to see positive outcome coming in. Venus is exalted. It's a positive sign. Your 5th lord is exalted. Your 12th lord is exalted. So, that comprehensiveness in terms of utilizing the challenges, fighting against the challenges at your workplace and coming out victorious is going to continue to happen for you. So that is another positive sign. Yet you will see some of the other challenges still come in your work front. So remember, he's the 8th lord is also in 10th, and so is the 12th lord. 12th and 8th lord coming in conjunction in the 10th shows some level of fight that you have to undertake. And I hope, Gemini, as you continue to succeed in that, do not drop the ball, do not get anxious, because that is a possibility. Remember, Mars is also in the sign of water in Cancer, but I think you will be able to deal it. If you're watching Dave Astrology, that is what I expect you to do. to understand what problems are coming your way and how do you learn to strategize to rule your planets and act better. Now, Rahu and Ketu, their transit, we are going to be doing a detailed video in the next week, which will be releasing there. But Rahu's presence in the 10th has been phenomenal for you, and so was Ketu in the 4th. But now these guys are inching towards the 3rd and the 9th house respectively. And that is going to be interesting because now you are going to get Rahu getting in trine with Jupiter, who's coming into your Lagna. So there is going to be a fight between the good and the bad, between how you would want to expand, and both of them will be looking in terms of expansive thought process through the course of the period. But whilst Rahu is here, I think you should make sure that you utilize all possible opportunities to crack big, to go big with respect to your efforts, with respect to your karma. So again, when I say karma, guys, I do not want to limit your thought process only to being in business or being in job. Anything that you are doing, how magnanimous you are with your efforts, how big a fight you are putting it on a day-to-day basis is what this Rahu is promising. And every time Rahu and Ketu are in this axis, some or the other tremendous things do happen. So I think this is the time for that last shift. If you think that there are any avenues that have been stuck for you, things that haven't moved out for you, this is going to be a period where you are having a last window of opportunity to fix those things with respect to your work front, with respect to your home front. I think when we do a deep dive into this transit of Rahu and Ketu, we are going to touch upon several factors that are going to influence things otherwise as well. Overall, from a May month perspective, what I realize is, guys, this is going to be a decent period from your health standpoint. You are going to continue to work towards your health. You are going to eat the right food, the right diet. Exercise is going to be extremely important. Again, remember that bit. Because of the 12th and the Lagna connections coming into play, I see the possibility of many of you starting to put on weight. Please be watchful on that front. Money-wise, I feel there is a lot of comprehensiveness that is coming into your life. You will continue to build upon that. That's a positive aspect there. From an effort, karma, job, business, career-wise, positive outlook. This is going to be a period which is going to give you further windows to make job switches, accomplish what you've been targeting. And last but not the least, this is going to be a continued period for you Geminis, where whatever targets, whatever goals, whatever materialistic targets you've set for yourself, you will still furnish that, you will still achieve them as long as Mercury is sitting there. And so that will trickle down into the month of June as well. Grab this opportunity with both hands. Don't let it slip by. I am pretty excited with what you are going to achieve. If you have enjoyed watching this video, please smash on that like button, subscribe to Dave Astrology, and